This is KMTV. My name is Nathan Charles, sitting in the presenter seat on this beautiful day. It's the 20th day of March 2024, and Jackson George, our lead panelist, is joining us as well remotely. Cyrus McGill could not make this presentation. Chuen Proud C is also affiliated with this broadcast. We're looking at Liberia, issues from Liberia. The draft national budget is in full swing. Everyone is discussing it and what is in that for the security sector, health, rule of law, and other sectors in Liberia. Uh, by election in Grand Jide and Nema County. National Elections Commission has been giving more details on the process there in Grand Jide and Nema County. The by-election that is scheduled soon. Protests at Lands, Mines, and Energy Ministry. Forestry students are not happy with some appointment. We'll be hearing from them. We look at other issues on the Diaspora show. Have yourself a great time to listen to us. Let's go into our discussion. Jackson Josh, welcome to the show. He's there remotely, joining us remotely.
Thank you, Nathan. I'm here.
Great. Let's go into our first development. The new Labour boss, Charles Brown, is out. He has started his advocacy or his official work as the Labour inspector. He was appointed by President Joseph Yuma-Boakai a few days ago. Charles Brown was at Aqualive, and he has been speaking on a lot of issues.
I'm mandated my inspectors. That is document. We are going to do all of the analysis of the remaining money that they're supposed to get you over the time. We communicate that decision with them, and they will pay retroactively. No money they've been taken from you. Thank you for you. My doors are open. Today will not be the last. I'm going to ensure that all of those measures, all of those violations, they live up to in keeping with the labor law. Our problem here in this country to improve labor rights in this country, to allow companies to be in compliance with the labor law, is surely the responsibility of the Ministry of Labor. I come to the position not to enrich myself. It's unacceptable. Anybody that gave me bribe, for you not to do the right thing, you will do the right thing. You will do the right thing. Working for the Liberian people, because it is the Liberian people that elected us. You people stood in the line, you voted for Ambassador Joseph Yuma-Boakai on the basis of changes. We must begin to exhibit those changes. We cannot continue these things in workplaces. For the past 6 years, you've been suffering with consequences. Under Joseph Yuma-Boakai, those consequences will not continue. One of the days where employees or employer will insult employees, I'm getting to know that their positions here belong to Liberians, and they are being occupied by aliens. Trust me, the management will be acknowledged, giving them the time frame to ensure that those positions be taken from the aliens and be given to Liberians. The manager here, that aliens. I told the manager, remove it immediately. The law provides. I can summon, I can investigate. So I got no fear once I'm in the line of the law, and I'm going to stand by the law. God bless us, God save us, quality, get your safety material, Star Wars.
Oh, Charles Brown. He has finally landed at the Labor Ministry. The man who have been advocating for the promotion of fair labor practices in Liberia. He was there speaking at the Aqualife institution where employees there, the Aqualife mineral water workers expressed concern over bad labor practice. Mr. Brown, he's no stranger to advocacy from the heart of the legislature. He has been there advocating for employees' welfare. Now he has to supersede the entire country, all the concession and the working environment at this institution. He's there. He has been speaking his first engagement since being appointed, looking at the issue of allocating jobs to Liberians. He also stressed on that, Jackson. What do you make of his comment?
Well,
Mr.
Nathan, I think he has his work cut out for him. Over the period of time, we've struggled with our labor practices in terms of employees working in our country, and not only in the private sector, also in the government areas as well. We talk about fair wage for people who are working, qualified people coming in, and to attract quality, you need to pay. And so we need to improve the working conditions of our people, both in the private and public sectors. But I will have hoped that he's a straight shooter. I will have hoped that there be some diplomacy and understanding. Some of these things, I always tell you, Nathan, government is compound complex. And until you sit in that seat, you have no understanding of the complexity of government. But he's speaking the truth. How he implements that and how he navigates the process is something that we will look forward to seeing.
How he navigate the process, it is something I would look forward to see. But the issue of companies coming into Liberia, taking position or jobs that are for Liberians, according to the CBA, Collective Bargaining Agreement. And all along, the inspectors, the labor inspectors, have not been out into the field. Mr. Brown have started knocking on the doors of these institutions. And you know him, he's a no-nonsense man. He would definitely talk for the plight of the people. Like he said, if you give me bribe, I will still talk, but again, do not accept bribe. So if you accept bribe, that's not correct, because we know past labor inspector. I know the late Nathaniel Williams, long time ago when I was in Liberia, I interviewed him, and when he was saying that the labor inspectors are in the pockets of these institutions, he was one of those who have been very vocal about how labor inspectors are not going according to the law, but they are conniving with these labor companies, because labor inspectors are giving $100 $200 if a company and they'll give you $4,000-$5,000. It's like your whole 2 years pay. So what can be done differently to improve our morale of our labor inspectors?
Yesterday we had a conversation in my office concerning some of the things that happen at the port of entry in our country, the seaport, airport, the borders, concerning bad labor practices and how government can raise money. We do have the capacity to raise a lot of money, but again, because of our labor practices and because of some of our own behavior, government is not able to raise enough money to cater to the needs of the majority of our people. So take, for instance, like I say, if you were assigned at the border and you're making $1,000 a month, and you're collecting over $1 million at the port of entry, it's prone to you something, with humans, and you might be tempted to put your hands in the cookies jar. The second thing that's happening in our country also, you got 20 containers coming in, and the boss man called from the top and say, let the container go. How many times would that happen in our country? So when you see the next container coming, you say, I don't want my boss man to call me and say, let the container go. So we need to allow our people to do their work. I hope he doesn't get a call from above and say, look, relax this and other stuff. So if we allow our people to do the work, I think Liberia will change. Yes, we do have bad labor practices. Some have to do with the way in which the companies are paying our citizens, the way in which some of the positions that are supposed to be Liberian. You can't bring in a cashier to do work that Liberian can do. Most of these managerial positions in these big companies in 5 to 10 years should be transitioned to Liberians doing them. We're not saying, we in the United States, we work here, we get jobs. We're not saying get rid of foreign people in our community, in our country, but there's some position, cashiering, basic assistant managers, some of those things are things that we need to cater to. And so if it's about mindset change. Let's allow our people to work. Like I always say, if a police officer stop me and I pick up the phone and call Gregory, and Gregory say, let him go, let him go, let him go. The police officer see that car coming, whether it's me in it or not, he's just gonna let it go. And that car could be carrying a lot of drugs at a time. So it's for all of us to change our mindset, all of us to allow the people in position to work. And and this country would develop, but it's a complete mindset for all of us. So I like his approach. I would prefer it being more diplomatic, but sometimes it takes straight measures or straight language to get some of the things across.
Yes, straight language to get things across, and those labor inspector must not be in the pockets of the companies they serve. Again, Liberia, we need to be more serious. Like you said, we need to be more nationalistic. We need to automate the system so these things cannot happen. And who's checking on those labor inspector, making sure, and we need an independent body to investigate, to even checkmate these labor inspectors to make sure that they are doing the work. Though they are from government arm, but that's why the civil society too, and the need to be more vibrant to ensure, because
Well,
there are pockets of conflict.
Nathan, if you put systems in place, you don't need independent. That's why we got internal auditing, and you got. But if we put system in place, that is why you see in this country, you don't have one person beginning the process and ending the process. That's why you got so many different people into the process. Because if you create a system that so many people touching this one thing before it ends, you can't bribe everybody through the chain. The next problem we have is that our higher ups will have to stop calling the people from under to make it work. Take, for instance, a container come for a senator or a representative of somebody, and they go to the port. And say the boss man call and say, you don't want delaying the senator container? You don't want delay. Let the people do the work. And yes, it's the senator's container. There's due process. It has to be inspected. Everything has to go through the process. And so if we can allow the people to do the work, if we can allow the people in position to do the work, things will be fine. But if we encroach on the people doing the work, then those people will come to work and do nothing. And so if you went to places, you see a lot of people sitting down doing nothing. It's not because they don't want to do it. They get to the point where they get tired, getting phone call and say, let it go, let it go, let it go. Which affects our national security, which affects our economics, which affects everything about our country. So we all have to change our mindset. But I think the labor practices will change. Things will change if we allow the people to do their work, like he's doing his inspection. Let the minister allow him to do his work. If the
Yeah.
minister feels that he's pressing too high, or that, call him, have a meeting, and find another strategy to make it work. But don't stop him from doing the work. Don't overshadow his work. Don't call and say let it stop. Let the system work. And if the system begins to work, we'll raise more money in our budget, because there's so many loopholes that we could close to raise more money so that we can have better schools, better healthcare system. Seniors will have access to better healthcare. Seniors will go to bed not being hungry. And our disabled community, the deaf and mute, all of our disabled community, we have better systems. So we need to look at this from a point where we have a holistic approach to our issue, but it has to do with all of us. If we don't change our behavior as a nation, we will struggle.
Okay, we will struggle. What is happening in Liberia? People are just protesting. Once they appoint someone, Jackson George or Nathan Charles or Peter Brown, some group of people would just gather and protest. We saw that happening along the first wash of Joseph Yumaborka leadership from the AFL wives, the active AFL wives, the protest, forcing General Prince Johnson III to relinquish his position. It happens again. It happened again with other people who got appointed from the foreign minister and those who were appointed. There were a lot of protests all around. Now we've seen the appointment of the Inspector General at the Mines and Energy Ministry, one Coker. That person was appointed, and now we've seen some professional geologists and mining engineers, meaning students. They are saying that they don't want the inspector. So what is happening? Let's listen to the protest, and Wemope spoke at that event.
We are saying our Tennessee. First sociology. Comrades, I recall that some of our comrades lost their lives because they were in rush to go and do mining 305. Those of them who are in private universities, eating fried chicken and drinking expired wine, they said to us that we were not ready. They said to us that we will stay long. They said to us that some of them will graduate, they will have job experience, and we will still be in university. But comrades, regardless of everything we do, and some of us graduated. As a matter of fact, every single person you see in this cycle is a Burkinian. Liberia is not.
All we need, there's no problem about a solution.
Wemope, he's the Minister of Lands, Mines and Energy.
And please bear with us. We call you, the Deputy Minister for Administration, the Deputy Ministers, for Planning, and all the other officers here. We sit down and we'll call you, we talk, and we'll listen to you. But please, just give us time frame. Please, it will be as soon as possible. Today? Come in now. Come in now.
This is alarming.
Come in now. And you know the way problem can how they can solve it, And you know that? And you know? Let me see the head of all those who are employees of this ministry. Geologists and mining engineers. For today. So Friday will be more ideal. So Friday come here, the leadership, because that letter you send now. So we can discuss the content of the letter now. That's good. And you know, we can send that they don't discuss the content of the letter.
Mr. Jackson Judge, geologists, mining engineering students don't want the appointment of Coker as Inspector General. And you listen to Wemope, he want to have a sit down with them to look at their main concern.
Yeah, Nathan, I think it's becoming alarming that when political appointments are made, people are protesting all over the place. It's the prerogative of the president to appoint. Notwithstanding, that's why we have civil society and people. I always say democracy is messy. There has to be a balance. And sometimes people have legitimate reason for protesting. There's nothing wrong if they have legitimate reason or if they have reason to protest. You talk about the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and sometimes, again, I always say the way you live your life prepared, it's better to prepare yourself for the opportunity when it comes in. When you're not prepared when the opportunity comes, some of these people who are being appointed maybe had a part to play into the past, and so people are upset and people are expressing their constitutional rights. Does that mean it's going to change? Maybe not. Maybe yes. We saw that with the former defense minister. The pressure from the military wives made a difference. So, if there's legitimacy within the protest, maybe the president will reevaluate that. But a lot has to go into the vetting process. A lot has to go into the what if, why not, why should we? And so if we did all of those things and we appoint people, then we must be able to defend those people when they are appointed, and not appoint and then few protests and then we change. So it's a management process, and I think the vetting process must be thorough and not just partisan or based on the fact that we just got to fill up the position. But I think if we've done our due diligence and we answer all those questions, then we must be able to protect the appointees.
We must be able to protect the appointees. Yes, the AFL widows, there were a lot of issues. They never wanted Mr. Johnson to go at the defense ministry because they believe that while serving as a head of the army, he never championed the plights of their husbands who were in the armed forces of Liberia. So it was in twofold because they believe that once he sit there, he's still in connection with the army. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll look at our other development here. Okay, let's just go over to the National Elections Commission. They chaired David Lasana and her officials spoke more about the upcoming by-elections in Grand Jide and Nima County.
Basically, everything in place. The nomination ends today, meaning that we have aspirants, some 15 of them. 19 aspirants who are applicants in this process. You know that once the nomination is conducted, then there's the continuation of the screening by way of the documentation and packages that are picked up. And once we get to find out that they are qualified based on the criteria we set, then of course we qualify them as candidates to run in the by-elections. And I'm told that very soon that qualification process will commence and will be completed in time to make the announcement that we have of the 19, we have either the full 19 qualified, and where one aspirant is perhaps having some issues, that will reflect to that aspirant, and we see how best perhaps they make adjustments or corrections, or if not, then of course that aspirant probably will not be participating in these elections. All I'm saying is that the screening process commenced, and once it ends, we'll have the total number of those aspirants now being qualified to be candidates, and they shall be informed as well as the Liberian people. But just a little roundup, we say that the senatorial by-election in Lima County, there are a total of 4 males, no female applicants received, and these are being processed. If qualified, as I just said, they will be notified to become candidates in these elections. In the representative in Grand Jide County, District Number 1, there are a total of 15 applications that have been received. 12 are males and 3 are female aspirants. In total, the nomination process received some 16 packages that were delivered to aspirants in both River and Benjamin counties. So when we move now to the voting population in Nimba County Senatorial, there are some 307.
Okay, Jackson Josh, listen to Deviator Lasana there speaking that 19 aspirants from the 2 counties want to contest. The big portion of that is from Grand Jide County in the representative seat. Everyone wants to go to the House to represent the people, either to advocate, either to enrich themselves, or for some motive. What is it like having a by-election for I think Edward, some man, I forgot his last name, who died in Grand Jide as a result of protracted illness, the representative, and the replacement of Jeremiah Cohn from Nima County. So in Nima, 4 male, no females.
So you know that it's unfortunate that the representative from Grand Jide passed away, but it opens up a slot for people who want to advocate on behalf of the people who want to fight for causes to come in and make a difference. In terms of NIMBA, the vice president, the sitting vice president seat is vacant. So that's opened up another gap for a lot of people who want to take that position and make it work. The elections commission, that's where money will be spent. Every time we have election, we have to spend money. We have to do training. We have to move logistically. And so, but I think it's a good thing when those seats are filled, the people will be fully represented in both the Senate and the House.
Both the Senate and House, looking at the number of our females who's pushing for females participation. In Grand Gila County, you have 3 females, and Nima County, none contesting.
You know, Nathan, elections in Liberia now is about money. It's about it's tough. The few women who venture into, I give them credit. The women who venture into politics in Liberia, you see our politics is not an easy path to navigate. So for those women who will come in and fight, I give them a heart, but it's not an easy process. Liberia is a men's world. The equality, we're still fighting for equity in Liberia. Men are being paid more than women, not only in Liberia, around the world. So we must all fight for equality. We must all fight for women to participate. I think when we have more women within the system, our country will be better off.
You think more women participation is important right now in terms of dollars and cents? It's going to put the country, the National Elections Commission, going to spend another money for this process because, hey, our people need to be represented. And looking at what happened in previous election, what can be done differently in terms of awareness, in terms of securing ballots, in terms of not having conflict that we saw all around Liberia during our just ended election?
I think this elections commission has gotten the experience they need. This past election, presidential election, was not an easy task. Lesson learned. I think they've learned a lot. So having a by-election to me is the easiest thing for them. I think this will be done properly and fairly. There's nothing that they have not learned through this difficult process that they went through in the presidential election, where we even had a runoff election. The discrepancies were not enough to overturn many the elections. So, I think they've done a good job so far, and so I think the by-election will be easier. They will have they will have their whole machinery pointed in 2 directions instead of all over the country. So that makes it easier for them to do. I don't see it as a difficult process. The security, now we have national security that will monitor. People will monitor. People have opened their eyes. Liberian people by themselves. We've understood that elections now have consequences, and so how you protect your vote, how you vote for your candidates. I will hope that Liberian will listen to what these candidates have, and not just people who bring in. We can't elect people based on our stomach. We now have to elect people based on the national agenda, the improvement of our communities. That's how we need to elect people.
Okay, the national budget is a discussion point all around Liberia. I know we will go into the budget on Friday. We'll try to bring ourselves, look at all of the sector, but just few highlights from the national budget. The reduction in the office of the president budget from 4.4 million to 2.2 million. So that's roughly 2.2 million reduction right there from 4 to 2.2. So it's a difference of 2.2 million. The vice president office budget was also reduced from 2 million by 2 million. So vice president before, Drew Hawatito, had 4 million. Now this current vice president, Jeremiah Kun, have 2 million budget. So we look at the draft national budget show a total reduction of 47,555,000 United States dollars from key officials and ministries respectively. So just discussing the reduction in the president and vice president budget there, what do you make of that?
Well, I've heard a lot about the budget. I think this budget is conservative. I think from January 1st to now, I don't think the government has total grasp as to the projection. So I would think that the finance ministry, in its own wisdom, decided to go conservative in the first year, so that they understand and close up all the loophole. I think by next year, the budget will be look totally different. But I think the reduction in the president and vice president budget is a clear indication of the direction that this administration is looking at. And so there got to be a lot of, I mean, that's half of the president's budget. So there's going to be a lot of reduction in activities. But I think it's doable. I think they went through the process to understand that it's doable. But
Oh, Jackson George, apparently he lost.
the minister is completely conservative with the numbers, so as to not just blow the number for the first year, because they just went in power for about 2-3 months. That's not an excuse, but you can't come up with projection that you cannot fulfill. But I think in due course, once they can understand and get grasp of the economy, that the numbers will be different.
Legislature 67 million to 38 million. They reduced the budget, and exclusively
Can't hear you, Nathan.
Are you hearing me now? Probably because somebody attempted calling you. That's why you need to come back on.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, you need to come back on, Mr. Josh. I think because somebody called you, that's why you're not able to hear me. But this is the draft national budget we discussing on Friday. We hope to bring some budget expert here from both sides, people who are not in favor of the current budget, and break down some of the figures. But what we've seen so far, some of the breakdown in the budget, the office of the president budget was reduced. Okay, Mr. Josh is back. I think because somebody attempted calling you, that's why you could not hear me. I'm sure you hear me right now.
Correct.
So we're on the House of the Liberian National Legislature. The budget was reduced from 67 million to 38 million. Now, the speaker, the pro tem budget, that is the pro tem budget, was reduced from 4 million to 1.2 million. The speaker budget was reduced from 2.2 million to 1.6 million. Deputy speaker was reduced from 1 million to $515,000. What do you make of, just from the legislature, that reduction? Would it be prudent? Would it be viable? Would it be punctual in
Look,
the
they don't. The entire country needs a resetting of our priorities and things. So, I think we can all live through the storm for now, if we desire.
not being effective and not being effective?
Well, we can still be effective if we desire to move this country forward. Then we must make the sacrifices now to benefit tomorrow. I think the discussion, the legislature will discuss its own budget. It has to be approved through the legislature, so I think they will discuss it and see where they are. But this conservative budget for now, I think they will have to recast this budget in time to come, based on closing the gaps, closing the loopholes, generating more revenue. There might be a recast of the budget, and I think that's the wisdom behind this. But notwithstanding, I applaud the legislature if they accept that they cut. I think there's so many things that can be. It's just like in your own home. You get a job. If you are buying 2 bags of rice, you cut it down to 1 bag of rice. If you are eating too much chicken and meat, you cut it down. So I think people sit on the tables, in the kitchen table, and cut down the budget. I think government should do the same as well. But again, we still need to raise more money. We still need to pay people more. So just cutting down the budget, when people say, yeah, we're cutting down the budget, for me, I don't believe in not paying people for the fair wage. I'm one of those who believe people should be paid more. And so there has to be a lot of innovation. There has to be realistic view, like we talked about the labor practices a few minutes ago. We have to close all of the gaps, all of the places that government makes money. We have to prioritize some of these agencies that government is not making no money off of. LEC, water and sewer. Some of the places that government can pull money, will privatize it so that government can, more money can come in so we can pay people fair wages. But on the whole, I think it makes sense. It's something that all branches of government should sit down and look at. It affects sometimes, like if we cut the judiciary branch of government, it might slow down the system for a while. These things have effect. Let me put it this way. So we must be innovative. We must raise more money. But I think because it's been 3 months, less than 3 months, they have not gotten grasp over the entire finances yet of this country. And so they can't come up with a budget that is so high. But I think this will be recast. I have no doubt that it will be recast in months to come.
Now, this thing, Joseph Human Boca arrest program, a strong member, a stalwart of the opposition, Randa W. II, wrote on his Facebook page. Let me see if I can get that. Okay, I know the prints are small, but few lines. He said, "It puzzling to see Mr. Joe Boyka has allotted only 5 million, a mere 0.8% of the budget to agriculture, despite it being his main campaign draft. His criticism of President Weah's 5 million allocations to agriculture now seems hypocritically, as he has essentially followed the same path he once condemned. This means there is zero change, and rescue cannot be considered in this context. This raises concern about the consistency and sincerity of his priorities in supporting the agriculture sector, which is the first in his arrest policy."
I would say money doesn't grow on trees. What was left when government took over? So the 6 years, the 6 years, depending on what was left in the coffers, that's why they call it, I would say that's why it's called arrest. What was left in the coffers, is it enough to carry on that? So no, it was not enough. So this is the first year. You have to be conservative. You have to look at the numbers, the realistic numbers, and stop the bleeding first before you can put a band-aid and then start building on what it is. But I can understand where they're coming from. But what was left, was it the idea of cleaning everything from the coffers and say, let's see where they will start from? So it's a whole different ball game when it comes to anybody from the past administration trying to play politics with what's happening. They understand where the country was left. There's no money. So the current government will have to look at the revenue income and project for the next 6 years to be able to carry on some of these programs. Does that mean that this budget is it? No. Like I say, in my own wisdom as a businessman, I'm sure there will be a recast based on the revenue generation that's going to come in the next 6 months to a year. But you cannot come in with no money in the bank and just put up, okay, just to please the other folks on the other side and say, okay, we'll add $100 million to agriculture. It's easy to say. You can add $100 million to agriculture. You can add $200 million to healthcare. You can add $300 million to education. You can add $600 million to national security. If that's what people want to hear, it's money in the air. But in reality, how much money was left to start out with? If you took over a department and you only met $40, you will start with $40 to move on. You're not going to inflict it. But then after you start making money and generating, then you start to increase the funds.
The argument is, if agriculture is your major priority, you don't have to meet money there. You have to allocate money towards that priority. If you say roads, you must give road money. For example, it was 4 million. Joseph Boyka made it 5 million, so it's just 1 million different. Agriculture is a priority.
But Neta, you have to stop the bleeding before you start curing. You
So
know,
it's $1 million.
yes, you have to stop the bleeding. There's nothing in the coffers. You can't. It's just like you home. You got mortgage. You got all the different bills to pay.
But
You
the
came in.
argument will
Hold
not
on.
hold. If you say nothing is in the cover, the argument will
No.
not hold,
How
because
much?
look at health. Health took a lion's share of 11 million, from 64 million to 75. Then why would you say nothing in the covers?
Remember now, this is a projected budget.
Yeah.
That
So
doesn't mean that's money. That's money that's sitting there in the bank already. That's just projection.
health took 11 million.
Yeah. So because
Okay.
healthcare is key. It's
Over
major.
agriculture,
No,
and that's
agriculture.
just the Vimon
No,
Boycott thing
but
for
coming
running
now.
on.
Right now with the agriculture part, agriculture is not, it's not as deadly as health. People are dying every day. We have to stop that. We have to stop preventing people from dying from diseases that are common diseases. So that is key. You have to prevent that. So you can allocate more funding to that area as compared to agriculture, which you can sit down, strategize, and develop over the period of time, as compared to immediate problems. Look, I'm not here to defend anything. What I'm saying is that the complexity of these issues are not something that you can just, when you sit on the outside, you can just talk and talk and talk, which is beautiful. That's politics, and I can understand the politics. But what I'm saying is that when you sit in that seat and you look at all of the variables, and you look at what's in the bank, you have to begin from somewhere. And so it's good that they're criticizing. Maybe they've learned themselves that what happened in the past, if given the opportunity again, they might do it differently. So doesn't mean that the United Party government should have a pat on the back and say, you knew. No, they're not new into government. So they understand that the finance minister is not new in the government. He's been finance minister before. So this whole budget we're talking about, and the allocation, is based on the projection that they've seen now. Now, how this government will close the loopholes, how this government would improve the processes to ensure that most of the monies that are being made are coming in, how the government will prioritize public agencies that can bring money into the country, how this government will invest into the business sector or create the enabling environment for businesses to do well and hire more people. Those are the things that bring money into the country. The politics will not bring money into the country. And 6 years is long. I mean, don't think 6 years is not a long time. So let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what's happened. But I agree with them. If you say you're coming to rescue, then you must be prepared. But you can't bring money from space and just put it there because you say you're coming to rescue. You got to first, I think I heard Dylan giving an analogy where when the plane picks up, before the plane set out to fly, it's rough and rocky. And this is the rough and rocky side of the plane picking up. The plane hasn't started flying yet. It's just trying to settle. It haven't even started settle. It just picked up. So I would give them the benefit of the doubt. I would say I'll give this government a year to settle in, and then the 5 years would make a difference. If they don't, then we can say they didn't. But in 3 months to start all of these things, and again, it's politics. I can understand where they're coming from. They have to put a spin on it. They can sit down and say nothing. So the politics is different from governing, and so you will have to separate the two. And if we want to be political, then we can talk politics. If we want to be realistic and look at the economic growth of our country, then we can look at it from a different angle as well.
Looking at it from different angle, but Joseph Boakai came on the arrest mission. He wants to improve agriculture, health, education, and other system in Liberia. We hope that he will support what he ought to support. Issue of helping to improve the living condition of Liberians. The issue of health. This is just a draft national budget. Like you said, we know other sector, as in that preparation stage, will be, giving more money, or some will be reduced. Like we saw the foreign the health ministry, the health sector receive a 11 million boost so far, giving them up to 70 some million in their budget, 75 million respectively. The situation of health. That's a major issue under the arrest agenda.
Look, Nathan, even from time immemorial, our healthcare budget has been, it's not even a budget for a country like ours. Agriculture, all of our budget. In fact, $580 million is a high school here in the United States annual budget. A university budget is more than if you just added a few universities, more than our national budget. So we should not be happy about what we have right now. My thing is we need to be innovative. We need to find ways to raise money to 1 billion, maybe 1.5 billion, so that there's more money into the pot for us to do that. We cannot just rely on what is there. And that idea of raising money into our country comes from all of us as a people. Joseph Boyka can hire you. If you corrupt, you corrupt. But if we all help the process, wherein if I'm an inspector and go on the field, make sure that people paying the taxes and we're not cutting corners, making sure that the port of entry we're watching, goods coming into the country, people paying their fair share, labor practices we are respecting the rule of law. We all doing our part. The country will develop, but it can't be one person. Even you brought Jesus Christ into Liberia, we crucify him. So the truth here is that the nation building comes from all of us. Yes, I love to have an opposition because opposition gives you a different perspective. Opposition will keep you on your toes, and that's good. That's what makes democracy better. But in terms of governance, in terms of developing this country, it has to be all of us, Nathan. If you're a journalist, you can't be a propaganda journalist. You must speak the truth. If you're an advocate, you must advocate for what you believe in. We can't have kids in our country sitting down on blocks in the classroom. That's all of our problem. We can't have the healthcare system that does not work for all of us. It's not something that is good for all of us. We can't have old people in our communities don't have no access to recreation, don't have no access to meeting their friends and doing things. We can't have this country only for a few. And that is why I'm saying national development rests with all of us. You can't drink water from a plastic bag and drop it on the floor and expect that government will pick it up. These are basic things that we all need to change our mindset. You can't take more from the government and expect that the government will develop just for you and your kids, because there's another kid out there that has not eaten all day because you took $200 from the system. There's another kid out there that is not going to school because you took money from the system to develop yourself and your family. So if we as a people want to develop, we must change our attitude. We must change our attitude towards ourselves. We must be our brother's keeper.
Yeah, we must be our brother keeper. But honestly, I believe that I hope they will add more money on the agriculture sector because it is very small. If it's a priority of the Joseph Human Boyka leadership, they need to add more money on the agriculture because we have to feed ourselves. Because if we don't like we know what happened from the rest riot, we have resources in the land, but we cannot feed ourselves. We need to invest into agriculture, and $1 million from the government you criticize of CDC, just adding $1 million in the projected budget. I think more need to be added onto that. Maybe Joseph Boyka itself need to sit over the agriculture from all this stuff.
I think we're sitting on the banks of the river and watching our hand with speed. Everything remain constant. If that little past government had left enough money into the bank with the new projection, I think there were more. If he can add $1 million,
why you keep blaming on this past government?
What I'm saying. No, I'm not blaming the past government. What I'm saying is that you have to be realistic at some point. You can't just come and throw figures in because you want to throw it in. I think an addition of 1 million, there will be a recast budget. There's so many things that are going to happen. I just think that it's too early. But again, it's politics. You can put a spin on it however way you want it. But in time to come, they will have to recast. I think it's a national security issue if we cannot feed ourselves. I think it has always been a national security issue. We import, we consume, more, we import more, we consume than more than than we put out. So a country that cannot feed itself has national security issue. So
is giving 1 million.
So we got to look at that. You got to look at that. But again, you can say that so many times for the viewers to hear it. He added 1 million. He added 1 million. Again, this is the first 3 months of his administration. This budget is conservative. And so I will hope that we understand it from that point, give him a year and see if this budget will be recast, and then it go on from there.
University of Liberia experienced a 2 million increase from 30 million to 32 million in the projected budget so far. The educational sector, which is the education ministry, received 105 million. The previous budget was 98 million. So education has a good amount in the budget thus far over agriculture. you think more need to be done for education and how such money can be utilized?
But Nathan, I mean, like I said, we always had, I mean, look at the budget for education for the last 12 years. I don't even want to say 6, let's say 12 years. We need more. We need better schools. We need to bring technology into our classrooms. We need to get more children in school. And so it's not about blaming anybody. I think our economy is too small. I think we need to grow our economy. We need to invest more into the private sector. I think government should never be the largest employer, and government is the largest employer. And so there's a lot of things that we need to do. But again, all of the budget, I think $580 million, $600 million is too small a budget for a nation like ours if we must develop. And that is why I'm saying Liberia can generate $1 billion if we close the loopholes, if we change our mindset. It's not a one-man fix, because you can be a general on the front line. If you don't have soldiers behind you, you're no general, you'll be captured. So it is us as a people, we must want this development so bad that we are all willing to change our behaviors to make it work. Because no one sector can change it, no one group can change it. We must all fight. We must hold each other accountable. We must fight for what is right. We must fight for this country so that we can all live in it. We got to understand that no Liberian is more Liberian than the other, that we all share the same DNA. And so we must make this work. I don't see that from the time immemorial that we are fighting to develop this country as a nation. There are few people that want development, and there are few people that want the status quo. Let it stay like this. Me and my family were okay. I'm okay with it. And so it's a mindset issue for our nation. And I'm hoping that we will start to think about being our brother's keeper. We will start to understand that we are all connected. Liberia is 25 deep. America is 3 deep, 3 generations. They always talk about 3 generations. In our country, everybody know everybody. But yet we keep doing things to each other as if to say we are not connected in a way, shape, or form. So those are some of the things that I think will happen. And I'm hoping that this country will change. I like the politics. I want, like I say, I believe in a strong opposition. I want to see the opposition keeping the government feet on the fire. But let's be realistic about some of these things that are happening. You cannot just put $200 million into agriculture when you don't have it. Yeah, we can project. But if you look at what they have now for the 3 months that they've been in power, what has come in from January and February and now March, you can project more than that. I'm a businessman. I'm not going to buy more. I'm not going to buy more goods than I have. The banks are not going to give you more money than your cash flow. So what do? If your cash flow is $3 million a month, how can you ask the bank for $25 million and the bank can only see $3 million? How are you going to pay for it? So you have to increase the cash flow. So my thing is, there is a way that we can reduce it. Look, our ports, Freeport of Monrovia. The Freeport of Monrovia is a cash-making entity. We have to standardize it. We have to make it functional, and we have to reduce the corruption that's been there for years. The second thing is our airport, our port of entry. And lastly, I've always said this, Nathan, we have to allow the people to do their work. You can't be calling from the tap and saying, let Jackson pass. And if this police officer sees Jackson pass 3 times and he get calls from the tap, indeed, the 4th time coming, he will say, I'm too tired to stop that man because the phone call will come again. Or the deputy ministers, or the assistant ministers, or all of the ministers. We've had one person managing the entire ministry. Nobody makes decision until you call the minister. The minister has to have a say in everything. That's not how it works. That's why we got deputy minister for administration. We got deputy minister for this. We got deputy minister. We got assistant ministers. We got directors. The chain of command. So if you give these people the TOR, let them function. But in our country, it does not work that way.
Okay, let them function. I know you was not on the show on Monday. I was our last talking point. The government of Liberia, through the foreign ministry, asking all those in possession of our diplomatic passport, 7 passport, should now submit it in for them to review it. You've been working within the diplomatic scene. What do you make of it? Like the U.S. government welcomed the latest measure taken by the government of Liberia to ensure all diplomatic, official, and service passports holders meet official eligibility requirements. Jackson Judge, is this
You
a
know,
good?
Nathan, when you carry a diplomatic passport and you in a country and you don't even want to give your diplomatic passport, it's not a good thing. I think there has to be a process in place to ensure that the integrity of our passports. How many years we've been in existence? Don't tell me that we cannot manufacture our own passports in Liberia. You know, this is a national security issue. So let me give an example. If a firm is sitting down in China that is printing our passport, we got to trust that that firm is not printing more passports than they're telling us that they're printing, right?
Yes.
If we have the machine to print into our passport, you want to tell me that machine is the only machine that was bought in Liberia for Liberia? That machine is somewhere else. A businessman can buy that machine. A businessman can do that. I'm not saying in Liberia that can be done, but it's time for our own country. How much is the manufacturing to create the booklet for our own country? How much does it cost? A businessman can buy it and do it. It doesn't cost much. Why should we have to print our passports in some other country? We should not. This is national security issue. We should print our passports in Liberia so that we can have NSA, we can have all of these agencies monitoring our passports and to make it well. So some of these passport issues, I agree, we need to recall all of them, but does that solve the problem? It's like we're putting Band-Aid on our problem again. We don't even know who all got our passports. We can continue to cancel it because the manufacturer is still there. How do we know that there's not a process out there to do something? We don't. We just trust their ability for what they tell us. We do not have robust spy agency out there. We do not have, all of the things that we need. So I'm saying good by the ministry. I think some of it comes from the ministry itself, but some of it might not be the ministry's problem. But recalling all of those passports, making sure that the people who have it are legitimate, I think it's a good thing so that they can bring some legitimacy to our passport so that people who are traveling for legitimate reasons show those passports, they can be proud and given the courtesies that they need. But you can't have a diplomatic passport and you're not giving the courtesy, they're circumspecting you, and it's a total mess, So I think it's a good idea. Maybe the process in which it is being done needs careful scrutiny.
Okay, thank very much, Mr. George. And this is how I would like to wind down on the Diaspora Talk. What's your final comment?
Well, I think my final comment is more about the vision for building our own country. Most of the time, there's a whole section of our country that believe that there's some people who are responsible to build this country. If you're in a village, you are responsible to build this country as well. You have your part to play. If you're uneducated, if you're blind, if you're disabled, we all have a stake. Now, how we treat our people is what matters to me. For us, for those of us who God has blessed, it is our responsibility to give back to our communities and give back to our country. So just because someone was born in a village does not mean that that person should not have an opportunity. Just because somebody was born blind does not mean that that person should not have an opportunity. Just because some people don't have money to pay their children's school fee does not mean that children should not go to school. We all should start thinking about a country of 5 million people, how we can do that. It is wrong when a child is raped and everybody sit in the community and do nothing about it because it's not their child. It is wrong for us to see kids selling in the streets, and it doesn't trickle to us that something is wrong. It is wrong when people go to the hospitals and there's no medication, there's no care. It's wrong. Do you think government can solve all of our problems? No. And that is why we must be innovative. We must create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Government should never be the largest employer. Government should not be attracting all of the smart people, because for smart people to come to government, it should be war. Government should be competing to pay what private sector would pay to get smart people into government. And so We should be running a country where we have innovation, we have all of these things. But again, it is easier said than done. We have challenges, road connectivity, electricity, pipe-borne water. All of these things are things that make it difficult for major concessions to come in or businesses to thrive. So until we all put our hands around this development process, we do our part, it's going to be difficult for us to develop. Can we develop fast? Yes. When Liberia begin to develop, if we change our mindset and this country begin to develop, we will be the envy of the world.
We need to change our mindset. The former information minister, Reverend Dr. Lawrence Brooklick, said, changing minds, changing attitude. And we as Liberians, we need to, we'll come and discuss more of the budget. We need to go into it, and we hope to bring on some people to look at the budget, because there are several things in the budget that you need to know. And we in the media, we have to break it down into sector. For example, transparency and accountability sector, what was allocated to that sector? About 21 million into that sector. You're looking at security, rule, and law, what was given into that sector. We want to educate you from sector to sector. I'm trying to break everything down to know what is in that indeed for our education, health, and other sector. Until we come your way again, this is KMTV. We are always open for business. Jackson George is always here. Cyrus McGill, the lead presenter of this program, is not in today. National Elections Commission announces by-election in Grand Jide and Nima County. Mining and geology students are protesting in Liberia. Wilmer P., new lands, mines, and energy minister, promised to have a dialogue. Liberia's new labor inspector, Mr. Brown, Charles Brown, is out with Aqua Life employees, urging companies to be careful that he's on the doors and will ensure the enforcement of the country labor law. And we'll look at the budget a bit, what is in that for the president, vice president, the House of Representatives, and senator, what is in that. When we come back on Friday, we'll look at other social development services. The government of Liberia, under the watch of Joseph Imamboka, has so far allocated for these services sector in Liberia. Security and rule of law is a major thing. What's there for the police? What's there for the army? Today, President Boka held a security meeting, a joint security meeting in Liberia, and new appointments in government. We've seen a lot of other folks coming on board. Some people are still on the somebody said, if your agent have not delivered, you'll still be on the bench. And so we've seen more people coming in, and people are complaining, why is Joseph Imamboka not taking people from southeastern Liberia? Who do all of these?
Nathan, where the justice minister from?
You tell me.
No, I'm just asking.
We're talking about majority. You tell me.
No, I'm just asking. What county is the justice minister from? What region? Forget about county.
Yeah, you tell me.
Oh, I mean, you just made a statement that nobody has been hired from the southeastern region.
I'm looking at the percentage wise. So that's what we're looking at, and we hope he will also divert his attention into.
I mean, the southeastern region got the southeastern region got the whole justice minister, and we're still saying that nobody come from there. You know.
Okay, have yourself a wonderful time.
Oh, you didn't answer the question though.
What was the question? Sorry, I had some technical. You saw me.
I say where is the justice minister? What region is the justice minister coming from?
I don't know.
What is it?
From the southeast.
Exactly.
And that's all you can point to?
No, but what I'm saying, when you say no appointment is made from the southeastern region.
We need more appointments from the southeastern part of Liberia.
The only thing I can say, election has consequences.
Oh, so that got beating them, so right?
Oh, I know. I don't know. I just say election has consequences, my brother. You know, I mean, we all go through that. So people have to think and reevaluate. But if you have the justice minister from the southeastern region, how many ministries do we have? I mean, we want to share it. Are we sharing ministry now based on that, or are we looking for the best and the brightest to be able to do the work that we need to do?
Okay, Jackson George, the best and the brightest only comes from what?
I
Loma.
I didn't say that. What I'm saying is, we should
Okay,
not
I
be.
hope
we're-
you're not talking in President Boga ears.
we should not be talking about regional appointments or county appointments. We should be talking about how we can get the best, the honest Liberians to come into our country, to come in and do the work. It doesn't matter to me if you got 10 Basa people in one place. It's how they function that matters to me. They must have the country at heart. They must have they must be patriotic. They must see all Liberians as equals. And so that's what it is. We are in the United States here. We have the same. I mean, we have 50 states. So you want to tell me all the states are represented within the cabinet here? It doesn't. It's not going to happen.
Okay, that's not going to happen according to Jackson Josh. Thanks so much. And don't forget KMTV on very soon on March 22nd. We'll be relaying a program from the Gavada Travel Foundation. It's an international travel and health awareness. They'll be looking at a lot of issues you need to know about traveling. So these are some of the panelists will be on that program, and we will be relaying that event on March 22nd. That's from the Gavada Travel Foundation, and they are looking at international travel and health. You need to know what is it like. What can you do when you are traveling on these many occasions? How can you get all of your health tips? Gavada Travel Foundation is here to help you ease that many difficulties or confusion about your traveling stuff. And Grateful African Market is just right here in the Twin City, 630 Basdick Road, Crystal, Minnesota. All of your African food, contact the Grateful African Market. They are here to serve you better. And don't forget, we do insurance. The Nathan Charles Insurance Agency is here to help you. Auto, home, life, business, we are here to serve you. While KMTV, we do have varieties of services we offer. Your DD system booth for your wedding, graduation, party, baby shower, whatever you have, call KMTV. We do live streaming as well, and we are here to serve you. And thanks so much for joining us. Why you want to advertise some of your business?
Well, the Park Liquor Store is out there. So if you're in Minnesota area, the Park Liquor Store, we are looking at expanding to Liberia. We are looking at working with folks in Liberia to ship, we call it authentic liquor to Liberia. And so, it is what it is,
Okay, and Liberia Business Association, if you are Liberian, please come and be a part of LIBA, because there are a lot of good things you can learn from LIBA. Right, Jackson?
A lot of good things, a lot of opportunities, come and be a part. Many of the times we get tired with being a part of an association, but this is a professional business association. LIBA is there to give you the information you need, or to share best practices, and so that we can leverage our collective potential. We need to trade among ourselves. A dollar stay in the Liberian community for less than 10 seconds. We need to keep some of that money there. We need to build wealth in our community. And so the only way we can do it, except we know where the resources are, where and how we can leverage all of these. So we do have great potential. Another aspect of LIBA is how can we help our homeland? How can we invest in our homeland and help with the developmental process? So we have a lot to do, but again, it's a process. If it was easy, it will all be done.
The National Olympic team of Liberia is in Ghana. Malcolm Joseph is heading the team there, and Liberians are there representing the country in different category. We saw the Liberian team there, and they came second to Ghana in the championship there. So we hope to see our boys on the track again, representing Liberia. And Liberian Glenda G, her son, is there Reeves is there too on the men's running team there. He's also representing Liberia from Minnesota. That's the champion of Minnesota.
Congratulations to our team. But you know, I was sitting, and when I say Liberia is so small, Glendy, Glendy is related to me on the past side. Our father is my father's cousin. So Liberia, I mean, Liberia is so small, and so that's why we need to be our brother's keeper, because the country is so small. We are all interrelated, and so sometimes we think we're hurting somebody when we're hurting ourselves.
Exactly. Love Liberia, think Liberia, and what build Liberia. This our president. I know.
Neta, you're sounding like the president now.
No. This lady, Bogana Bibi. Bogana Bibi. Have yourself a wonderful time. Let's leave you with our sponsor from the Park Liquor Outlet. They are here sponsoring the Park Liquor Show. Thanks so much, Jackson George, for taking your time to help educate our people. And to those who've been contributing, we say thanks always for following KMTV Diaspora Show.
Thank you.
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference.